Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. As some of you may know, I'm a first year medical student at Anglia-Ruskin University, and I thought, what's a good way to try and help people who are also trying to apply to medicine? I thought to interview people who have gone through pretty much the same process which every UK medical school applicant has gone through. I wanted to ask people what their experience was on the UCAT, and I thought that this would help people who are trying to revise for the UCAT and looking to apply to UK universities for medicine. A disclaimer in this video, they've removed AR in this year's UCAT, abstract reasoning. So everyone over here are saying their scores out of 3,600, when now it's out of 2,700. So if you want to roughly estimate what their score would have been without AR, just divide their score by 4 and times it by 3. And that's the score that they would have had, approximately, because there's other factors, like, for example, they could have done worse in AR, better in AR, but approximately. Secondly, I just want to put a disclaimer that the UCAT is quite a difficult and stressful exam, so don't be put off by that. And even if you don't get the result that you want, there are multiple people in this video who have done gap years, who have done previous degrees, so it's not the end of the world. I hope that helps. Now, before I begin this video, I just want to quickly mention a company that helps students with their medical school applications. That involves UCAT prep, GCSE and A-level tutoring, interview prep, university choices, and that is NextGenMedics. The main thing I do with this company is interview tutoring. So before you apply for medical school or when you pick your universities, you have to do an interview. The main thing I do is helping students try and ace their interviews. I'm open to doing GCSE and A-level tutoring as well. And I do some UCAT advice, but that's not my specialty. But there are other tutors on this platform that are happy to help with UCAT or with any step of your application. So I'll leave their link in my description of all their socials, etc. And let's begin the video.
What? I don't know if I'll be able to take this serious.
Was that
That's
question?
fine. That's fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that was a question. Who am I joining with today?
I'm Daniel.
Daniel.
Hi, my name is Isha.
Zaid. Adnan.
Sarah.
Rain.
Francesco.
Salman. Mars got me.
Huh? Mars.
No.
No.
Aman Shirazi. There's a lot of Amans. Aman Shirazi. Yep.
Leon from ARU.
What did you get in your UCAT?
I got 2740 and band 2.
My first time, 2,590.
Okay.
My second time, 2,890. Band 1-1.
3,162.
Band 2.
2,770. Band 2.
2720.
What band?
2.
2660. Band 1.
Band 1.
2710. 1.
Band 1.
2,600.
Band 2.
2990. Band 1.
Band 1.
2700 something. Band 2.
Either 2720 or 2730.
Okay.
It's yeah. Band 1.
Band 1.
2940. Band 2.
Were you happy with that?
Yeah, I feel like I could have done better.
I wasn't happy with my first one.
Right.
I was elated for my second one.
Alhamdulillah, yeah, I was happy.
Yeah, I was.
You're
I was
happy
happy.
with the
Yeah.
score?
Happy enough. I wanted to get better, but
I could have done better, but it did eventually give me quite a few options for university when applying, so I was happy, yeah.
I was alright with it.
I was happy with the band 2, but I wasn't too happy with the score overall.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, I was very happy with that score.
Oh, it was alright. I did not put that much effort in, so that was fine by me.
I'm just glad it was high. Like, it was competitive enough for me to apply where I wanted to apply.
Yeah, I was pretty happy.
How many interviews did you get with your first one?
0.
Second one?
All 4. All 4 I had were St. George's, King's, Queen Mary's, and ARU.
I got 4 interviews. St. George's, ARU, Plymouth, and Queen's Belfast.
4. York, UEA, ALU, and Kent.
I applied really bad, bro, because I got like similar scores to you all, and I got 1 interview. So
3 interviews. ARU, Queen's Belfast, and Leicester.
in Belfast. Oh, you actually applied there?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I got all my 4 interviews. Southampton, I got Bristol, I got Brunel, and of course ARU. 4. Uni of Manchester, ARU, Uni of Leeds, and Uni of Leicester.
Did I ask you that question? How many interviews? What did you?
I had
3. What ones?
3. Liverpool, Leicester, and ARU.
Oh, right. Okay.
3 interviews. Liverpool, I got Anglia-Ruskin, of course, and I also got Aberdeen.
4. ARU, Queen Mary London, Liverpool, and Exeter.
All of them. Cambridge, UCL.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Cambridge, UCL.
Cambridge, UCL, Liverpool in here.
4.
Glasgow, St. George's.
Wait. You got Glasgow. How?
I have no idea. I got Glasgow St George's,
Okay.
UEA, and ARU.
Three.
Three.
Yeah,
What
three.
ones?
It was here, Queen Mary, and Kent and Medway.
And how many times did you do it? Once?
Well, basically once, but I did it the year before, like to see like what kind of scores I'd get.
Oh, right, okay.
Twice now.
Twice now.
Yes.
What was it the first time?
It was lower. It was 2,610, I think, or 2,620, something like that.
No, you had like a little scope of what it would be.
Yeah.
Like. Okay, that's cool. What changed that first time, second time?
Definitely spent longer revising for it, so
Right.
dedicated more weeks to it, and it definitely helped doing it once before. Anyway, you just get a feel for like the exam experience and everything, timing wise.
Yeah.
I think I just took it more seriously in general the second time. That was the main thing.
Yeah.
Planned out revision more, did more sort of mock tests.
How many days and hours did you spend revising?
Ooh.
2 and a bit months.
All right, okay.
Probably 1.
1 hour a day. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say like 3 solid weeks. I wasn't doing like 10 hours, but I work in like 4-hour, 5-hour increments.
Right. Okay.
So I'd just do that and I'd be like, that's enough.
So still quite intense, you'd say.
Yeah.
I started about 6 weeks before,
Mhm.
and then I did 4 weeks. I got completely burnt out.
Yeah.
The final 2 weeks, I was just binge watching Prison Break.
4 weeks continuous, and then 2 weeks you just rested.
Yeah, 2 weeks before the exam, I was just doing barely anything. I was very burnt out. 4 or 5 hours a day. So I do a mock a day.
From the very beginning.
From 6 weeks on. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I do a mock a day, and then I just work on bits that I want to improve.
Every day, 4 hours every day for 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Second time.
Yeah, second time, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Only did one mock test. The first time I did all the mock tests, plus the mock test on the UCAT website.
Right. Okay.
Second time round, I did one mock test only.
Okay.
1 hour every day for 2 weeks.
I kind of did an approach where I would revise for like a longer period of time, but less hours per day. So maybe 6 or 7 weeks, but not intensive.
Okay.
Maybe towards the end, it kind of ramped up.
3, 4 weeks, 6, 7 hours a week, something like that.
A week.
Yeah, probably.
So you did like an hour a day.
It was more so like some days I did like, cause you know like you do the mock test and there's like 2 hours at once.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So you didn't do like that much, did you?
I didn't do that much. I'll be honest, I kind of lucked out with the questions.
Literally like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Because I was on holiday until like just before.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then I just didn't do it on holiday at all.
Oh right. Okay.
But yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. How many hours per day?
Probably about 2 or 3.
Okay.
Like I'd try for much longer, but just I had no motivation.
So I started getting to know it, like the general layout of it, maybe like a year before, like in
Oh,
the
right,
summer before,
okay.
just knowing like what's coming up, and then
Right.
like intense revision like a month before. So in that intense bit, I would do a mock most days.
Yeah.
So that's 2 hours,
Okay.
and then maybe some extra. I used Medify,
Right,
so
okay.
did the extra questions.
So my UCAT prep, I started around a month and a half before,
Okay.
and I was doing, I'd say, around an hour a day, and gradually that increased that to around 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day.
Probably around, so this is the first time, about around 3 weeks.
Okay.
And hours per day, like maybe 1 or 2. Second time around, the most recent time around, I did like a couple months, or maybe even 3, like 2.5 months, proper like
2.5 months.
maybe, yeah, roughly like 2.
I maybe revised for a month, but it was like the last 2 weeks I did, like proper.
And how many hours per day?
Maybe like 3, 4.
4 weeks or a month.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, might have been a bit less, maybe 3 weeks. I started off with maybe like 2 hours a day in the first week,
Yeah.
and then went up to like 4 or 5.
What methods did you use to like revise for the UCAT?
I used Medify.
I mainly used Medify.
I think it was Medify. I think it was
Medify.
What is that website called?
Medify?
Medify, yeah.
Or what?
Medify.
You use Medify?
Yeah.
Both times?
Yes.
I mainly use Medify.
Thankfully, my uni, they kind of gave me a lot of resources.
Your school?
Yeah, that's school.
Yeah.
Sorry, not uni.
Yeah.
For example, they directed us to Medify. They gave us like a discount and stuff like that. I don't know if you heard of Medology, but I also did Medology as well. Also, obviously, the UCAT book. I don't know if you know of it, but yeah.
Okay.
Medify, I think it's called.
Medify, right,
That's
okay.
all I used. And then also the official UCAT. I used a few of those mocks.
Yeah.
But apart from that, that's what I did.
Okay.
I did med entry.
You're the first person I've interviewed that said med entry.
Really?
Yeah, everyone said Medify.
Oh.
Why? What made you choose med entry?
I heard that it was harder.
Oh, right. So you wanted.
Yeah.
All right.
I wanted
okay.
to make UCAT feel easier. I did try the UCAT website once, but I found that crashed a lot.
Yeah, same with me.
Wasn't that useful.
So you use notes as well for UCAT?
Yeah, but these are like notes I made myself.
What notes did you make?
So for all of this was like the little keypad.
Oh,
shortcuts.
right, okay.
Medify, MedEntry, is it?
You use both?
Yeah, I use both.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so first time I was using PassMed because it was free.
Yeah.
I was doing those stuff.
PassMed has UCAT stuff?
PassMed has free UCAT stuff, yeah.
Wow, okay, I did not know that, okay.
Yeah, and then Medify. I think Medify has tons of questions, so I was just knocking those out. And then I just got MedEntry because I was like, I need some variety. Just in case the UCAT is different.
I watched like some, YouTube videos where people go through like how they answer it and how they think about it.
Was it that Australian guy?
Yeah.
His name is Emil, I think.
Oh,
Emil
right,
Eddy. He's from Australia.
Australia,
Yes.
the Australian guy, yeah.
Before I started actually revising, I was like watching YouTube videos, taking notes of like methods that people use, especially for abstract reasoning.
Yeah,
common patterns.
What was your like average score when practicing?
It varied a lot. At the start, I was really low. Like at this point, I was like, I can't even do medicine. I can't do anything.
Right.
But towards the end, I was probably averaging around 2,600.
And 600.
Yeah.
25, 2,600, something like that.
Really?
I can't lie, I only did 2 mocks.
Oh, okay.
And I think I got one that was like 26 and one that was like 28.
Okay. Oh, so like bang in the middle.
Yeah.
You got.
She was ranging.
There was like a big fluctuation all the time.
Yeah. But the most were 500, 600.
All right. Okay.
I feel like I'd range from anywhere about like 2,400 to like 2,900.
550 to 600. And then towards the end, I was getting like 700, even once 800, I think. So it's probably the average of my.
Of
whole-
like
if
your
that makes
actual
sense, yeah.
one, right? Okay. So you thought it was quite reflective of like.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
I remember it was really depressing because it was like 1,800, 2,200, 2,300, 2,500, 2,300, 2,400, 2,500, 2,400. So it was 2,700 in like early July, and then I postponed it.
Yeah.
Did all my revision in Turkey, started doing MedEntry. Because I had like a month longer, I kind of just went up in score, just naturally. I did the free official mocks, and I literally got 2940, 2940, 2940.
Oh, right.
And then on the test, I got 2940.
I was getting around 2,750, that kind of range.
Oh, right.
However, one thing which I did make a mistake of was I was on Medify.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I was
Medify.
using Medify. And then towards like 2 weeks before my exam date, my membership ended.
All right.
So I decided, why not? Let me switch to the other one, which
MedEntry.
is MedEntry.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of getting higher scores, which kind of boosted my confidence a little bit. For example, like
Quantitative reasoning. Yeah.
My score was a lot higher, which I was very pleased with. I was getting like 900 in that kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That's interesting because people say that MedEntry is harder.
Yes.
So it's interesting.
Medify, if I remember correctly, there were some mocks where I did really well in, some not so well. Average around what I got, I think, to be honest, like 2.7
right,
maybe,
okay.
or maybe
So
slightly higher actually.
About 2,800. Average was probably about 2,800.
2,800. So you got higher on your actual exam than
Yeah.
mocks.
Oh, it varied so much. Sometimes it could be like really low, like 2,400.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'd be really high, like 3,000. So
Right. Okay.
I'd say my score was an average.
Were you confident going into the exam?
Kind of. Somewhat. Somewhat is the question.
Okay.
Like, I knew that I could have put in more effort, but also I wasn't like going in like, oh, I'm going to fail.
Right. Okay.
I was going in like, I'm going to get a decent score,
Okay.
not in the 3,000s.
Right.
But a decent
Right.
score.
I don't think anyone can ever be confident for such a luck-based test.
Interesting. Okay. Were you confident going into the test?
Not at all.
Not at all. No.
I would say I was, but obviously there is some nerves. First time doing it, so I was pretty confident. Yes.
Not really. I've always struggled with it. And it's probably the worst exam I've done, like in terms of how I felt going in prepared.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd done as much as I could.
Right.
So I guess, but like I still didn't feel good about it because I felt it's completely up to luck. But.
Right.
First time, not so much.
Yeah.
Second time, a lot more confident.
A lot more confident.
I feel like with any exam you're nervous.
Right. Okay.
But I was like, I should have revised more.
Were you nervous while doing the test at all?
Definitely.
While doing the test?
I was doing dua in between the sessions. Bro.
Really? Did you find your actual exam easier compared to the mocks, or?
I wouldn't say easier, but I felt like I was doing better. Like I was doing it, and I felt like, oh, okay, I'm actually gonna get a better score than I have been getting.
I found it harder.
You
yeah.
found it harder.
I found maybe not harder, just a different style to what I was practicing. So
Right, okay.
I think the UCAT have like their own question banks. So I think maybe it's more important to use those. Maybe it's more realistic.
Okay.
Very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah.
When you were doing your exam, did you feel like it was harder than your mocks, easier, or
I think it was way easier.
The mocks.
the mocks?
Yeah,
Really?
definitely. I feel like I did better in the exam.
Okay. Did you find so the mocks that you did, were they harder than your actual test, or
Therefore, I never passed 2700 on my mocks.
really?
I feel like they were like equal difficulty, but it felt like VR was easier in the actual exam and AR was harder in the actual exam.
Certain sections, for example, QR, I found it a lot harder than the actual mocks.
Verbal reasoning and abstract reasoning harder on Medify than the real one. And then decision making and quantitative reasoning I thought were easier on Medify than the real one.
Okay. Did you the second time you did it? Did you feel like it was harder than the first or easier than the first?
Much easier than the
Much
first.
easier.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if because
So it might have been like kind of a luck thing. Like,
I feel like it's a luck-based test.
like it just depends on what they give you in the day.
Yeah, because even VR was like surprisingly easy.
What do you think was the hardest section?
VR.
Hardest VR, right?
I think that's just for most people the time.
I think this is controversial, but for me, abstract reasoning was the hardest by far.
VR.
100% decision making.
Yeah.
Quantitative reasoning. I'm never good at maths.
Right, yeah.
Comprehension on what's that?
VR.
VR. Hated VR. Absolutely hated it.
The hardest one was verbal reasoning.
Verbal reasoning.
I could not. That was still my lowest.
That's the most commonly asked.
I don't speak English, man. That was so difficult. I was like, you're telling me to read in how many seconds?
Right.
I can't do that.
And VR was definitely the hardest because I struggle with reading quickly. So.
I think it was abstract reasoning.
My worst is definitely AR.
It's abstract reasoning. I hated abstract reasoning.
That's
Thank
gone
God
now,
it's gone.
yeah.
Thank God.
Quantitative was so easy.
Ooh, easiest SJT.
I think AR was easiest, or at least I practiced it the most, so it became my easiest. And then
SJT was the easiest.
SJT was the easiest.
That was very easy.
And then you take QR.
Yeah.
SJT and then
And abstract reasoning because 11 plus you did quite a lot of abstract reasoning stuff, so
yes.
it's quite easy for me.
Was SJT your easiest?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Definitely, yeah. SJT. Decision making.
Decision making easiest.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Interesting.
Decision making, I think.
Decision making.
Decision making.
And then decision making was my easiest.
Quantitative reasoning.
Quantitative reasoning.
I got
easiest, really.
Yeah. I got full marks on that one.
Full marks, okay.
I'm quite good with maths. I feel like the maths one.
Easiest. I found verbal reasoning the easiest in the mocks in my practice.
Verbal reasoning. I can't believe that.
Really?
I can't believe no one said that, bro.
Really?
No, that's everyone's hardest.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, but in the exam, that was one of the hardest ones in the real thing.
Yeah. Did anything shock you on test day?
My IBS, no. Apart from my score.
I didn't expect to get above 2,100, to be honest.
Really?
The timing, specifically, like I didn't realize how fast my time was going.
Yeah.
For some sections as well, like VR, for example, like I didn't know I was spending so long on certain questions, so that did kind of shock me. It kind of made me rethink of my method of how long I'm gonna spend on each section.
The thing is, the time goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
You don't really have time to like panic.
Yeah. You weren't composed, would you say? Oh,
Freak, no. I thought I fumbled as soon as I walked out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, it worked out.
I don't know how it worked out. I was opening it right, expecting to see like 2,500.
Oh, right, okay.
I should have took the advice. Take the earpods when they offer you them, because I did not take them, and then I could hear the boy next to me like speaking out loud.
I didn't really know how the layout was. I mean, I did my driving test in a similar place.
Oh,
but I didn't really know how, because like people with other exams were right next to me. Like the girl next to me was doing a law exam, and I could hear her typing the whole time, and I was just like,
they were doing the LNAT, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Like after like the first 5 minutes, like you sort of just get used to being there. Like you forget that you're nervous, like because you're just so focused on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I booked my exam at like 9, and it was in Guildford, which is like a 40-minute drive or so. But they didn't open up until like 10 minutes before the exam, so that kind of freaked me out.
Would you rather do your A-levels again or UCAT again?
Oh, man.
Oh no, wait.
What's the lesser of two evils here?
I'd probably rather do A-levels again. But I also would rather do A-levels again because I know I could do so much better if I did it again.
Yeah, I knew.
A-levels.
I knew it. You'd love to go back to chemistry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely UCAT.
UCAT, really?
Yes, I hated A-levels.
Wow,
Hated
okay.
I did IB instead of A levels.
IB, all right.
Yeah.
So would you
But
rather do?
I would still rather do IB over UCAT.
My
What would you
A-levels.
do?
My
A-levels?
yeah.
Really?
I really enjoyed my A-levels.
You enjoyed your A-levels?
I enjoyed sitting my exams as well. If I could do it again, I would.
Oh my
Genuinely.
goodness. What
I sound like a weirdo to a lot of people when I say this. I would do my A-levels again for free.
UCAT.
UCAT? Really?
A-levels, A-levels was a bit more stressful. A lot more stressful.
I can't like UCAT. I was living my best life.
Really?
I was walking by the beach. I'm fine. I'm fine.
A-levels.
A-levels.
Nah, I'd say UCAT.
UCAT, really?
But, like,
Okay.
A-levels you can prepare for a lot easier, but UCAT is so much quicker. Like, get over and done with, you know?
A-levels.
A-levels, that was
100%.
quick.
UCAT as hell. It's such a pointless exam.
Definitely, nah, do UCAT again, man. Because A-levels is, yeah, because at least UCAT's quick, get over and done.
Yeah, that's true.
A-levels, nah, I do not miss A-levels, man.
UCAT's horrible.
Yeah.
I think I don't think my revision strategy was that good. And I feel like I would have got the same score if I didn't revise.
Right,
honestly.
okay.
I would rather do the IB again.
You'd rather do
Even
IB
though
again.
it's a lot.
A-levels was, it was stressful. It was stressful.
Yeah. Any final tips for people who are going to sit the UCAT?
Do not stress at all for this exam. It's very luck-based, as I've said 3 times. Don't do too much, like overwork yourself. Obviously, that can lead to burnout, which I think happened to me the first time, to be honest.
Don't be nervous, even though I said I was, because like, it's just going to make you a bit second guess yourself and you're going to like lose time during it. The main thing is just speed. That's it, really. I feel like every single question, if you had enough time, you could do it.
Right.
Practice. Make sure your mental maths is good. That's about it, really.
Definitely do a bit of revision, but don't actually go crazy because the way I see it is so much of it is up to luck. Like, it's only so much you can do. Like, I feel like you go up and then you just sort of just like hover around a certain point.
It's like a plateau.
Yeah.
At my school, everyone who did better than me, there was like 3, maybe 4 people who did better. They used med entry. So if med entry works for you, use that. But Medify is still completely fine.
Just do enough practice, do enough like exam style questions. Tips and tricks are all good, but just it's all about practice. Dedicating the amount of time.
There's a lot of resources online. Find the best one that works for you. It might be videos, it might be questions, but don't be persuaded by what everyone else is doing. Like, a lot of my friends used med entry. I just used Medify. I thought it worked well, but find the best resource for you, if that doesn't sound too cringe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't leave it last minute and don't cram. Like, start beforehand and get used to it.
Yeah.
Because it's first you have to kind of understand how the questions work, and then you practice the questions.
Yeah.
So give it time.
Yeah.
You've answered every question. You've not left any question blank because obviously it's MCQ. So there is a chance you can get a question right.
Don't go on holiday while you're doing it. Try to invest actual time and not rush in like 2-3 weeks. Don't be bad at the beach. Don't go to Egypt. Don't go anywhere. Stay at home.
And one tip that I found really well helped is do your UCAT exam, your mock, do it every single day at the same time that your actual exam is. So mine was 8 a.m. or something, 8 a.m. or 8:30, something like
do
that.
it.
So do it at the same time, trains your mind, gets it into like practice, and
That's that's actually quite a good tip. I've never thought about that.
yeah,
It's really good. Yeah.
I don't see any way it would detract.
Yeah.
And,
No,
it would
it
definitely help.
shouldn't. Yeah.
It should definitely help.
Start early. I liked doing small amounts at a time.
Start earlier than I did and revise more than I did. And also, don't panic.
Med entry. I remember med entry is weird because the Australians, they finish earlier. So the med entry subscription like cuts out halfway between our UCATs, like halfway in between the start and the end of our UCAT season. So like, and it's also like 100, like it's like 80 quid or something. So it's quite expensive. So figure out when you're going to revise and buy your med entry subscription in relation to that, because that's the thing that caught me out. But I'd use both med entry and Medify. They're still going, but I don't really know.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ray.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isha. Yeah. Thank you very much, man.
No worries, man.
Thank you very much, Noor.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you very much, fam.
No problem.
Thank you very much, Salman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ed.
No worries.
That's it, yeah. Thank you very much, Leon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maz.
Thank you.
That's all. Thank you very much, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Daniel. That's it.
You're very welcome.